There have been various new releases for predominantly 90s consoles such as the Sega Mega Drive of late, and many of them have been pretty good. But it's a bit of a weird one for me. These aren't games which trigger nostalgic memories on their own merit, because they're brand new. They're also not in the same bag as exciting modern day releases on the latest hardware, offering sights and graphical fidelity that we may not have gazed upon in the past. So where do these games fit? I believe they fit in the experience category. You remember grabbing the latest game for your Mega Drive or Super Nintendo, right? Maybe you were fortunate enough to bag a rental copy from Ritz Videos, or maybe you just splashed out 40 or 50 quid to buy it new. But there was nothing like scanning over the back of that box, gazing at the artwork, opening it up and touching that shiny cartridge, feeling the breeze from the manual. These were all the prerequisites which formalised the main show, the new gaming experience on your favourite console. That's what these games are. They don't offer predefined nostalgic memories, but they offer the nostalgia of that same experience, something new for something old. Even today, I'm still curious as to what graphics these 16-bit machines can pump out, and I live in hope of being blown away by each new release that comes my way. The two games I'm looking at today are interesting in that they both have PC Steam releases, and they're available on cartridge format for Mega Drive. They also cover my two favourite game types of the 90s, the beat 'em up and the platformer. So, let's take a look at both these titles on their respective platforms and see how they perform on the Experienceometer. To cover most bases, I'll be playing each game on both a standard PAL Mega Drive and an AtGames Mega Drive Flashback, as well as their PC iterations. I'll start with Tanglewood, developed by the fabulously named Big Evil Corporation. Now, early adopters of the demo may be familiar with this complete boxed affair, but I believe they were a limited run by the developer Matt Phillips. There will be boxed versions for the full release which are available on pre-order and look sensational. But for now, I have this press cartridge. Is it enough to invoke feelings of old? Well, it's a cartridge and it breaks with convention by being red, and I like that. Any kind of colour or presentation deviation of cartridges still excites me today, so this works a treat. Off the bat, you can tell this is a quality affair. The music eases in before presenting this colourful title screen, which gives me hope and a feeling of curious wonder. I'm reminded of Disney games like Aladdin, Lion King and even Ariel the Mermaid, which you shouldn't knock until you've tried. This feeling remains right past the intro and into the game. The sprites and their animation are defined and feel filled with life. This little chap, known as Nim, may be cute, but you also quickly adopt feelings towards it. Protective feelings, which mean you try your hardest to stay alive. But what are we staying alive from? Well, the forest is our habitat, and our foes range from giant slavering beasts to smaller, deceptive critters. Our task is therefore to get our youngling through the forest and back home, whilst avoiding the night terrors which lurk within Tanglewood. To assist with this, little fuzzles can be helped back to their spotlight plants, whereupon they will gift Nim with an ability. This could be the yellow gliding ability, green for time control, or blue for beast taming. These abilities can then be used in conjunction with standard movements, such as pushing, to solve straightforward puzzles and progress homeward. The game very much combines Sonic-style movements and interactions with Flashback-like puzzle elements, and it's actually a very good combination. My only niggle being that sometimes the buttons are a little less responsive than you may like. As you progress, you will also discover contraptions to solve more complex puzzles, and thankfully checkpoints to save your progress. Now, the Mega Drive will provide you with save codes, whilst the Steam version will just save your progress automatically. Other than that, the two editions are very similar. The Steam version is just emulating the Mega Drive code using a tweaked engine originally made by Crytek, and the deluxe version even comes with a Mega Drive ROM so that you can put it onto an EverDrive cartridge or simply run it through an emulator such as Fusion. As we can see from this intro comparison, graphically everything is the same. Impressively, the AtGames Mega Drive Flashback seems to handle most things pretty well here, although its timing does seem a little quicker than the PC emulation, and its colour palette is a little off. The game does seem to be optimised to also run on PAL 50Hz systems, with music playing at the same speed. However, cutscenes and gameplay do seem to be just a little bit slower than normal. Interestingly, and quite nicely, the Mega Drive version also allows you to turn off YM2612 SSG EG features, allowing for enhanced sound playback. The ability to turn it off is really for clone consoles and the like, which don't implement this feature correctly, leading to hissing or distorted audio. Just then, you heard the Flashback console failing to handle that sound effect. So here's what it should sound like on a normal Mega Drive. Okay, let's have some coffee. In fact, let's have a coffee crisis. This time, it's in proper packaging. Look at it, isn't it just so alluring? Now, this is a game by Mega Cat Studios, and it's a cartridge which has been available since 2017, following a Kickstarter campaign way back in 2016. The Steam iteration has only been available since May 2018, and unlike Tanglewood, it's significantly enhanced over the Mega Drive version, but we'll get to that in a bit. Oh, now look at this cartridge. That is all kinds of special. There's something so very captivating about transparent plastic, and in cartridge form, it feels like the peak of civilization. Man, I just love inserting cartridges. I also love manuals, and this one practically spits that 90s feeling directly into your eyeballs. Now again, Coffee Crisis is a game of quality. It's also a very different type of game. Instead of evoking feelings of cartoon and cute, this time the feeling is more Alien Storm meets Double Dragon. And I specifically say Double Dragon because it hasn't really got that satisfying Streets of Rage feel going on. Instead we have more of a button-smashing slap and run, which yields a fun brawler in its own right, but not really a beat-em-up in my books. It's a game, however, which feels perfectly at home on the Sega hardware, whilst providing the kind of graphics I lusted for after playing Turtles Arcade and wanting the same experience at home. This is pretty nice. The premise is your standard couple of coffee barristers fighting a load of aliens, including Metal Jesus it would seem, and trying to save the world, or at least the threat of their Wi-Fi, heavy metal and coffee being taken forever. The story is heavily based in gaming from the 90s, and of course also heavy metal, which sounds reasonable on the Mega Drive release. But I just had to mute it on Steam. That's not the kind of shredding soundtrack I want to do my beating to, thanks very much. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, I just prefer things chilled and filled with that funky bass vibe. Oh yeah. Also, if you're going to implement improvements, then it would be nice to remove the password system in favour of a standard save system. At least the passwords aren't 30 digits long, I guess. If we do some comparisons here, you can see the difference on the PC release. You can, however, simplify the graphic settings to make it more like the Mega Drive if you wish. But really, the PC release is a different, faster, and much more frenzied game. But I prefer the simple charm of the Mega Drive release somewhat. You may note the Flashback console isn't looking too healthy here. Yeah, it just wouldn't run. But thankfully, like Tanglewood, the game appears to run fine on PAL 50Hz hardware, which is always nice. Beneath all these graphics and sounds, however, Coffee Crisis is quite a simple game. It's a brawler, it's fun, and it's even more fun in cooperative mode. Clearly, as a brawler, there's not much substance, but really, that's what I want from a brawler. Just to be able to stroll in and kick some alien ass without hassle. It's with that in mind that I have a small niggle in that I find these storyboards popping up a tad irritating. You can get rid of them, but I just don't like the interruption, damn it. So let's get back to the 90s experience. That's really what I wanted from these games after all. The upshot is, sitting playing these titles with a curved Mega Drive pad in my palms is pleasing. It's always a pleasing experience, unless you're playing something so horrific that it shatters that bliss, of course. But thankfully both of these games offer something which grips and compels you. Ultimately, they're both fun. Tanglewood is a more relaxed, thoughtful and clever outing than Coffee Crisis for sure, but neither of them require too much brain power, and frankly that's just what I need when I want to unwind with a Mega Drive and relive some 90s nostalgia with a modern twist. As for their Steam iterations, Tanglewood is great, mainly because it's a game which works well, even away from the tactile feel of a classic console. It's compelling and engaging, and you want to keep playing. It also looks absolutely gorgeous with that Disney-like quality across both formats. The bonus of a Mega Drive ROM in the Deluxe Edition is really just that, a bonus. Coffee Crisis tries to spice things up. You get additions such as mutators to alter the gameplay and add replay value, but really I would have been just as happy with a straight up Mega Drive emulation. But even without the Mega Drive controller in hand, it works on its own merit, and provides light button bashing but often challenging entertainment. Maybe something you could work your way through on your lunch break, although it is clearly best played on a sofa with your Mega Drive controller. And a Mega Drive console, of course. Now all you need to do is pay a substantial cartridge-like price for these games, just like the old days, and the nostalgia is almost complete. Thanks for watching. There's some more videos here. Please thumb this video up or thumb it down to say how you feel. But in any case, have a great evening.